What's up? I'm Ed and he's Michael. We're Conquer and Hold. We're a Riftbound show that talks about the happenings of Riftbound every week. We also stream every Monday at 6:30 at the People's Card Shop Twitch. Come check us out, stream our Nexus night. What's on today's episode, Michael?
On Conquer and Hold today, we're going to be ranking all of the Chaos cards 1 to 5. And then at the end, we're going to go over 2 topping Irelia deck lists that use a lot of these new Chaos cards. In our other video, same situation. 1 is bulk, 2 is niche, 3 will be a common card, 4 is a strong card, and 5 will be a build-around or a broken card.
So the first card that we have here is Called Shot. It's 0 energy, 1 power pip, action, and repeat. Look at the top 2 cards of your main deck, draw 1, and recycle the other.
I think this is a 4-star card because the effect is really powerful, but the repeat cost is kind of hard, having to put back 2 runes to your deck. In Ezreal, I do think it's 5 because he gets to discount the extra repeat, so it's 1 power for the entire effect, which I like. We have Cull, 1 mana weapon, equipped for 1. When I conquer, play a gold gear token, exhausted, +1 might.
I would have to give Cull a 2, mainly because the +1 buff, I just don't think it does enough. And the getting a gold gear token also just doesn't do enough on a unit. Maybe it'll be good just because you can just target something, but as it stands right now, it's a little too inconsequential, the effects. The next one is going to be Doran's Ring. It's a 1 energy gear equipment with a power pip to equip. When I conquer, discard 1, then draw 1, and it gives +1.
I feel the same as I did for the last weapon. It's going to be a 2 or 1 even because the 1 mana for the 1 might, it's very small and the effect isn't really that great. I think this effect is better than the last effect, but I don't really like either. 1 mana, Factory Recall, action, return a gear to its owner's hand.
I think this is going to be a 3 just because it is a cheap kind of pseudo gear removal. It bounces the expensive gears. Also can be kind of used against equipment as a removal, not a removal spell, but as a battle trick. Also, an interesting thing about Factory Recall is that you can just target your own gears, maybe potentially recycle some important cards. The next card we have is going to be Hard Bargain. It is a 2 energy spell with reaction speed, repeat 2, counter spell unless its controller pays 2.
This card is in all purple decks, in their main deck or in their side deck. I think it is a 5-star, giving another color access to a pure just counter. And this counters anything. So if you have to pay 2 mana in order to make your opponent pay 2 mana or pay the 4, you're always going to want to do it so that your opponent cannot pay for Hard Bargain. So if you have to float 4, it's fine, because if they use a giant spell, it's going to win them the game, like even Fight or Flight, and you Hard Bargain it, they can't pay for it, you basically just get to counter it for free. Well, not for free, but...
Broken card. I think it should be in everyone's side deck at least.
Next we have 2 mana, 2 might, Overzealous Fan. When I defend, you may kill me to move an attacking unit to its base.
So don't think we're crazy, but this is also just another 5-star card. It's super simple, 2 mana card with 2 might, easily costed, and has a great effect of just being able to just stop your opponent from gaining a point. Sure, you lose the card in the Overzealous Fan kind of tributes itself, but just pushing a card back, being kind of a pseudo fight or flight, but also just removing them the ability to get points. It's just a very strong card.
I think especially in Draven, when you win a fight, you draw a card. Killing yourself isn't even that much of a downside because he is replacing himself. If he had 1 might, he'd be strong. Having 2 might is kind of crazy. Next one, 2 mana Spirit Wheel Gear. When you choose a friendly unit, you may pay 1, exhaust this, and draw 1.
I think this is going to be a 2, but a low 2, arguably even a 1. I like that it is a cheap gear that you can just play. It gives you card advantage over time, but oftentimes the cards that that choose other cards are good by themselves. So do you really need to pay all this extra mana to draw extra cards? So right now I don't really see a home for it, but maybe I'm just not big brain enough.
Over a long game, it's cool, but I'm in the same boat as you. It's just a little too hard to use.
The next one is going to be Switcheroo. It is going to be 2 energy with 2 power pips. It is a hidden with action also. Swap the mites of 2 units at the same battlefield this turn.
This card is so crazy because it's so versatile. You can basically use it as a kill spell in purple decks that don't have a lot of options to killing. This is a 4-star card. The only reason I can't give it higher is because of the 2 power you need to in order to cast it. The cool thing about the 2 power is that it cannot be counterspelled by deny. And you can cheat it out by hiding it. So instead of paying 2 power, you can pay 1. In Teemo, this is an absolute 5, though.
Also, amazing art. I love how he just looks. He just looks so derpy. It's so great.
That's how your opponent's going to feel when you kill their giant guy with the Teemo. Temptation, 2 mana, repeat. Move an enemy unit to a location where there is a unit that has the same controller.
I want to say it is a high 1, low 2, just because I like any card with repeat, just because it's so versatile. But I think it doesn't do enough, or it does a lot of stuff too preemptively. Like, just imagine you moving all these units, and because it is just a normal spell, it's not action speed or anything like that, you have to preemptively do it, and then you go into combat, and now you get hosed by another action because you preemptively use Temptation. So I don't think it's like the best of card. I want to say it's like a 1, actually.
I agree. This is when we're really seeing the bundling of keywords where action and repeat make cards so much better. If this was an action or repeat, it'd be way better, or if it drew 1 card, but just doesn't have it. 2 mana, Treasure Hunter, 1 might. When I move, play a Gold Gear token, Exhausted.
So I think it's going to just be a 4, because I think any card with just the when I move trigger is really strong, especially in purple that has access to stuff like Tide Turner and just a bunch of other tricky things. The biggest neg on this card would just be it is a 1 might unit, so oftentimes it is outclassed if you're just not going first, or if they just have a bigger unit to just contest it. So how many triggers you're going to get, that's up for debate, but I just do like the Gold Gear token being made so freely.
Yeah, it definitely fixes out your entire curve. Getting the guaranteed you move it and you get that 1 singular Gold Gear can definitely fix your entire curve if one of your cards in your like early plays needs to use a power. 2 mana, 1 might, Windsinger, hidden. When you play me, you may return another unit at a battlefield with 3 might or less to its owner's hand.
I think this card is going to be a 3. What I like about this card the most is it's just another hidden card. It doesn't necessarily have to be crazy powerful, but just another hidden card in the pool makes all the other hidden cards just a little bit better. But Windsinger is powerful just because it is a monster that's able to kind of like turn the tide of battle. But it being 1 might not sway that much, so you're really basing it on how powerful the bounce effect is. But when it's hidden, it being reaction speed is also very powerful. So I would say it's just a 3, but you wouldn't put it in every single deck just because it's not the best hidden all the time. The next card is going to be Black Market Broker, a 3 might unit, 3 energy. When you play a card from face down, play a Gold Gear token, Exhausted.
2-star, it is not that hard to do that. This is basically just hidden synergy, but there's a lot of better ways in those decks to get Gold Gear, like the new 3-drop spell in blue where it deals 3 damage and gives you a Gold Gear. I feel like you just rather see that in your hand than the Broker. 3 mana, Boots of Swiftness, gear, equipped for 1 purple, gives your unit ganking and +2 might.
I think Boots of Swiftness is a 5-star. It is so broken. So I think it is a cheap enough equipment where you can just easily play it. +2 is enough of a buff where you don't lose a lot of tempo. It's a good thing to play on it. And ganking is a very, very powerful card. And we're going to see Boots of Swiftness a lot in Irelia decks, because what often happens is Irelia is like a Voltron strategy of just getting a bunch of keywords, a bunch of stats onto her, and having ganking basically gives her a pseudo accelerate of moving in between battlefields, controlling it, making a super powerful card. So it's definitely a 5-star in my books.
I agree. Ganking is definitely ganking and accelerate are the 2 strongest keywords in the game. 3 mana, 1 power, or 1 power, 4 might, Corrupt Enforcer. When I move to a battlefield, discard a card, and when I win a combat, you can draw 1 card.
So as of right now, I want to say it's just a 3, but me being the optimist about cards, I think this is like a future card we need to be looking at, because it is just a overstated card that's good early game, but also having the move to the battlefield discard one doesn't seem like that powerful effect. But if you have enough of those cards in your deck, you can kind of build a deck around that. So I'm excited about that. But the biggest thing is when I win the combat draw card, keyword is a combat. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to conquer anything like that. If you just continually defend with this guy, he could just be a draw engine himself. So as of right now, just 3. He needs a home. The next card is going to be Edge of Night. It's a 3 energy gear equipment. It is a hidden card with equip 1 power pip, and it just gives +2.
I think it's at least a 4, if not higher, because being able to hide this for 1 power and make it a reaction, its reaction for 1 mana gives something +2, which is already a good buff. But when that unit would die or lose a combat, you get the Edge of Night for the rest of the game to equip to different units. When you equip something, it is also considered a target, so it synergizes with all of your targeting in the deck. So I really love that it's a hidden. Really cool.
Yeah, it just being hidden also is broken because now there's just even more obnoxious hidden purple cards that exist that you have to play around it, because this being a +2 is way different than playing around a fight or flight.
This is crazy with Ember Monk because you do this on Ember Monk,
Plus
he goes
8.
up 6,
Yeah,
he goes
he's
up
at
to
8.
8. It's just so wild that you can just get him that big off of 1 hidden. Ezreal, 3 mana, 1 power, 3 might. When you play me, you may discard 1 card, draw 2. Optional additional effects you pay cost 1 mana less or 1 power less.
So I think Ezreal is going to be a 5-star unit. It is just a cheap unit that you can play on curve that isn't that bad, and it is a 3 might unit. And being able to filter out cards is the best part, at least for me, in this with this card. Just being able to just see your powerful cards and discard discard your bricks. And for me, the optional additional cost of costing 1 or the energy less is a benefit, but it's not like a huge thing. But I think in an Ezreal deck, specifically when you build around it, it's super duper like an awesome card.
I think it's a 5 as well. I'd play this card just for the first effect, and the secondary effect makes it so crazy with accelerates and with hiddens, not with hiddens, with repeats. So if you build your deck like an Ezreal deck, it'll be nice. Yeah. Next we got Fizz, 3 mana, 1 power, 3 might. When you play me, you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost 3 or more, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle that spell afterwards, but you still have to pay its power cost.
So I want to rate this card a 4. So I think this card is very powerful on paper, being able to just recycle your spells, reusing them to gain advantage about it. What I like about it is that you can play a middling mix of just like 1-ofs or 2-ofs of certain spells, and Fizz is kind of your extra spell but with a body. The only issue with Fizz right now is I don't know how powerful the decks that use Fizz are. So as of right now, I would just have to say it's a 4. The next card is going to be Last Rites. It is a 3 energy gear equipment with the equip cost of 1 power pip, plus you need to recycle 2 cards from your trash. And then it gives the unit, when I conquer or hold, you may pay a unit from your trash and then give it +2 might.
In a vacuum, it's very interesting when you think of all the graveyards and Death Knell synergy. But when you look at the cards we have so far, I think I have to give this a 2 or lower, because 3 mana for 2 might is just not fast enough. And it has a conquer or hold effect, so it's not getting immediate value. And even after you get immediate value, you have to pay mana in order to get that card back from the graveyard. So a card has to be in the graveyard, you have to play the weapon, it has to conquer or hold. It's just so many things that you have to do in order to get this effect. The effect is great, and when you get this effect in a deck that you want it, it's fantastic. But there's just, right now, not many decks that want to jump through a million hoops in order to do that. So I'd say like a 2 or a 1. 3 mana, 3 might, Loyal Pup. When you defend at a battlefield, you may move me there.
I think this card's just going to be a 3. I like this because it is just a simple card, 3 energy, 3 might, well statted, and then it has kind of pseudo accelerate where you're able to just defend. You can't really use it aggressively, but I like that it's just like a battle trick.
Yeah, it's cool. You can just have him laying in the back. You're holding 2 battlefields, but you put Loyal Pup in the back because he can go to either one, which is fun.
The next card is going to be Fae Porter. It is a 4 energy unit with 4 might. When I move to a battlefield, you may pay 1 power to remove a unit you control to the same battlefield.
I think this is a 4. This is such a crazy card. 4 mana, 4 might, great stats. And I love that all the 4 mana cards that have no power, you can just play on 4, are super great and versatile. Fate Porter, when you move him, whatever you play on the following turn, say you play Fate Porter and you have a 6-drop. You play the 6-drop, you move the Fate Porter, you pay the energy, you get to bring that 6-drop you just played with you. So you're giving all of your future cards accelerate, which then that's kind of the threat. So your opponent has to say, oh, do I have to kill the 6-drop? And if he doesn't kill the Fate Porter, then the next card you play, you can use Fate Porter, maybe with ganking or something, and you can move over the next card. So he's just a continual threat that is always moving around your late game units. But your opponent wants to kill those late game units, so maybe they don't have enough to kill that unit and a Fate Porter, and he just sticks around and does it over and over. Harpoon Squad, 4 mana, 4 might. When I move from a battlefield, give me +2 might this turn.
I think this is going to just be a 3. I like this card just because it is a 4 energy card you can play on curve. You don't lose any of your any of your runes. Um, but I don't really find that many good uses for this card. I do like it where it's in a color where you have many times you're able to move it away from the battlefield and then move him into the next battlefield. Also, it's very nice when you give him ganking. But as a vanilla unit, he's not that powerful. You kind of need to build around him to make him strong. So I would just say he's like a 3. The next card is going to be Irelia. It is the champion unit. It is 4 energy, 1 power pip, 4 might. Your spells that choose me cost 1 energy or 1 power less.
I am going to be a little mean. I think this is a 1-star card. 4 mana, 4 might's cool, but the purple power is kind of just, I hate it already. And the effect, even though it doesn't say to a minimum of 1, so all of your little tiny 1-cost spells that choose can cost 0, I just feel like in Irelia decks, you don't even play this. So why would you play this in any other deck if Irelia herself does not play this? I just don't like it. 4 mana, 4 power, 4 mana, 1 power, 4 might, 4 power would be insane. Accelerate, if you spent at least 2 power this turn, I have +2 might, and I have ganking.
So I think Silver Mercenary is a strong card. I want to give it a 4 just because I like the cheap Accelerate. And it is a solid unit in the champion unit zone, just having a 6 Accelerate coming down. What's really cool about her is that anytime you accelerate her, 9 times out of 10, she's always going to have the +2 in ganking because she fulfills her own cost. So I think she's solid. I don't know if she has a home just yet besides just the Silver deck.
I like that you can also accelerate her in, capture a battlefield, and on your next turn, you can use 2 power worth of stuff, and then she gets +2, and she can gank over from that original one that she accelerated to.
A really solid card.
5 mana, 4 might, Ancient Warmonger, Accelerate. I have Assault equal to the number of enemy units that are here.
I want to say this card is going to be a 3 or like a lower 4. I don't know if you put it in every single deck, but I do like it against token decks. And any card with just Accelerate is going to be a solid card. It's a little underpowered with 4 might, but this is under the context that it's always going to get just like a big value out of the Assault. So I think it's a solid card, but it's not going to be in every purple deck. The next card is going to be J. Medarda. It is a 5 energy unit with 2 power cost recycle, 5 might. When you choose me with a spell, draw 1.
I'm going to be mean again. I think he's also a 1. Choosing him with a spell specifically just makes him not versatile enough. The might's cool, but the power is just too much. 2 power for something you have to choose with spells, it's just not a good draw engine.
If it was just you choose me, I think it would be remotely playable, you know?
Maybe
I think
like a 2 or 3.
Yeah, it'd be a 2 or 3. I think you could find a way to do it, but as it stands now, it's just not. It's not it.
Him not working with weapons is really unfortunate. If he was like, choose me, and he had Weapon Master, so he got the initial equip, it would be nice. But he just doesn't do anything and only works with spells, so I hate him. 5 mana, 1 power, 5 might, Vex. When I'm in combat, friendly spells cost 1 power and 1 energy less to a minimum of 1, and your enemy spells cost 1 power and 1 energy more.
I want to give this card a 4. I don't know if it's going to be in every single purple deck, but I like that there's an option in the side deck that kind of combats all these like green decks or anything that kind of has these showdown based effects. So I enjoy Vex because it's just a big unit that is just hard to kill because she just has like a floodgate-esque effect, but it's not this build around me type card.
I agree.
The next card is going to be Draven Audacious. It is a 6 energy, 1 power, 6 might, deflect 1. The first time I win a combat each turn, you score 1 point, and when I die in combat, choose an opponent, they score 1 point.
This has to be a 5-star. There are so many ways in purple to move your units around, move your enemies' units around. You can bounce Draven back if you're about to lose a battle. You can use Rebuke on your opponent's stuff in order to win that battle. Just scoring extra points, it's not even conquering, it's winning a combat where you just can do that so easily. The only problem is if like your opponent hard targets him with like spell damage removal and then they get a point out of it. In those matchups, you probably want to side Draven out like into a Kaisa that is able to kill it very easily. 6 mana, 6 might, master. He has weapon master, and literally that is all.
So I think this card's going to be 2. It's all right. I like that it's a 6 mana card, 6 might. It's not overcosted. I think weapon master is a good ability just to staple onto creatures. I just don't think it does enough to warrant you playing it in a deck. But you can accelerate it off of the Fae Folk guy, so I think that's
true.
cool. Yeah.
If he had accelerate himself, he'd be playable.
He'd be nuts. Yeah.
7 mana, 2 power, 8 might, beast below. When you play me, return another friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hands.
So I think this card's going to be a 4-star simply because you don't need to necessarily bounce one of your own creatures. You could just summon this and just use it as a pseudo removal spell of bouncing their card. And it being an 8 might unit is very powerful. Imagine summoning this off of Aurora. It sounds kind of fire. I like it. I want to give it a 4.
Also has an extra utility of sometimes you do want to remove or put that card to your own hand to get the battlefield effect again. Like an Annie. When you play an Annie, you get a card from the grave. You can just do it twice.
Yeah, recycling Mind Splitter, recycling other stuff like that seems really good too. The next card is going to be Downwell. It is a 8 energy spell, 2 power. Return all units and gears to their owner's hands.
I think this is going to be the new premium removal for purple. It is 5 stars. The problem with this is you're restarting the board state, so your opponent gets a full turn to do anything they want and set up first, so it kind of leaves you in the same position. But if you use this when you have like 10 or 12 mana and you're able to play like some 2-drops or some smaller drops with it, then Downwell, and then you're able to kind of have prio when it comes back to you, that's the the great situation for it. But if you have to cast this at 8 mana, you're probably going to lose anyway, but it's a 5-star because there's no other card that does this ability.
Actually, I think that the biggest thing you can do with Downwell would be to activate Downwell, bounce everything, and just summon 2 Rossas. Or like summon a Rossa.
True.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's actually what a lot of people are trying right now, and I think that's a valid strategy. It's a little bit slow, but it's one of those, it really goes over the top of a lot of decks.
That's crazy. Okay, that is the end of our Chaos review. The character right now in Riftbound who is doing really good recently is Irelia. So what Irelia does is she is a green-purple deck. When you choose a friendly unit, you can exhaust her, pay a power, and ready it. When you conquer a battlefield, you can pay 1 mana, untap her, and then you can use that ability again. So when you go to target, you can ready your next unit. In this tournament, which was 128 people, so a lot of people, it took spot 1 and spot 2. These deck lists are fairly similar, a little, niche choices here and there, but they run very similar cards.
So the star unit of Irelia is going to be the Irelia Champion unit, Irelia Fervent. It is a 5 energy card with 4 might with deflect. And when you choose or ready me, give me +1 might this turn. This is kind of like the all-star in this deck. So what often happens is there is a plethora of equipment that you'll have, and you keep equipping it to Irelia. She keeps getting buffed. She keeps getting bigger. Deflect makes you hard to kill, and purple just has a lot of cards that end up targeting things. And one of the biggest interactions with it is going to be Ride the Wind. Ride the Wind's a really good interaction because it will give her a double buff because it, one, untaps her, but two, also targets her. And then here's her signature spell. It's going to be Defiant Dance. It is a reaction, and it gives a unit +2 might this turn, and another unit -2 might this turn. So a key thing about this ability is it is one of the few cards that actually lets your opponent's monsters become a 0 might unit. So that can be very tricky and very interesting. Also, it just being a reaction, kind of a battle trick, is just so powerful.
Also 1 mana strong.
And that's one of the great parts about Irelia. It gets to play this core base of On Guard and Discipline, these kind of protect the president-esque cards where, sure, they can use some removal spells that are damage based, but if you can get it big enough, then you can just basically just dodge it.
What's also nice is they target with the Irelia champ, which is cool.
And then now we also have the new equipments here. They're going to be Edge of Night. It's awesome because, just like he said, any equipment will basically buff her up. And giving her ganking is also huge, trying to score as many points. Because what often happens is you're trying to win off just one monster. So you just need this ganking to be able to, remove the point disparity.
And what's good about Protect the President style comps is in green, you do have these actual cards that if your card were to die, it will resummon it instead. I love how Guardian's Angel is a weapon, so it does have synergy with the targeting. Another way to protect your cards is by counterspelling. You get to play Hard Bargain and a new green card, Not So Fast, which counterspells anything that specifically targets your cards. And of course, since you are green, you get to play the 1 mana Defy. When you are trying to win combats, sometimes you just can't win. So Fight or Flight and Rebuke, they can move your units out. You can move your opponent's units out, so very versatile with that. The only way that this deck really has to remove a card, like hard removal, is Charm. Being able to charm something into your Irelia and take that combat and kill it. Rebuke is a removal, but they get to replay that creature on the following turn, so Charm is the only way to actually kill, like hard kill a creature.
And one of my favorite parts about this deck is actually Stellar Corn Herder. So I love drawing cards, and Stellar Corn Herder is one of those cards where you can just keep moving it around, and there's cool synergies with Tide Turner where you can just keep drawing cards. And what often happens is you need a secondary card to basically protect, because what often happens is in a perfect world, the Irelia is going to live, but if your opponent has anything to do about it, they're going to try to kill it. So you need other creatures that are going to either replace themselves or do the same thing as Irelia, just be a hard card to kill or a card that just gains a lot of advantage. And Draven is also just another card that you want to suit up with a bunch of gears and equipments, because the moment he starts becoming a huge, gigantic threat with a bunch of equipments, he can't lose a battle, and now he just keeps scoring points nonstop. And then, again, like we said, the ubiquitous card, Ride the Wind. You see it in almost every aggressive purple deck, and Irelia is no stranger to that. And just like I said earlier, one of the best parts about Ride the Wind is it is a double buff on Irelia, so you're able to just get points on your turn and get points on their turn through Ride the Wind also.
Okay, thank you for watching. That is the end of our podcast. In the comments below, our question for you this time is, what is your favorite Chaos card? I think mine is probably Fizz. I think he's just so interesting how you can run your decks of 2-ofs or 1-ofs, and he's your third or second copy of specific spells. He's also a great top deck. I'd rather top deck him than the spell itself, because you get a little body too.
I like Switcheroo because that dude looks derpy.
And it's a broken card. Okay, see ya.